This is Midweek Politics with Dave Pakman.
Welcome back to Midweek Politics. I'm David Pakman. Well, there's a Koran-Burner who's actually been fired. Remember before 9/11, we talked to Terry Jones from the Dove World Outreach Center, where Little Outreach actually goes on, coincidentally enough. He was going to burn Korans. Then we talked to Shirley Phelps Roper from the Westboro Baptist Church. She was going to burn Korans. Well, a man that actually did burn pages from the Koran on 9/11 was fired from his job. His name is Derek Fenton, and he was at a protest outside the planned location of the Fox News majority shareholder-funded mosque, as we've come to know it. His employer for 11 years was New Jersey Transit. So will conservatives defend this guy? And I've actually got video that I'll run for our TV audience here of him doing the burning. And it's pretty interesting, I guess. I mean, he's just ripping individual pages out and burning them. The ACLU has already said, you can't fire someone. If burning a flag is protected, you can't fire someone for burning a Quran, which is a good point, right?
Yeah.
At the same time, if he was fired for inciting violence, which we could argue that burning the Quran certainly does, that is not protected. And as with everything else, it might just play out in the courts. I don't even know what to think. Certainly, it doesn't seem like you should keep a federal job if you are burning Korans on the street, does it? There's something about that just doesn't seem quite right. But again, you can burn the flag. I don't know how I feel about this. I don't know which side I would be on exactly.
Yeah, to be honest, neither do I. I mean, on one hand, he's clearly antagonizing people. Right,
exactly. And if we can make the argument that he is inciting violence, then that is not something that's protected. I don't know. The agency said Mr. Fenton's public actions violated New Jersey Transit's code of ethics. I guess that's kind of its own rule. I mean, we can think of a lot of things that would be legal, but that you could get fired for, right?
Right, and I guess when you get into state laws, it's a different story.
I mean, for example, if your employer has a policy that says you cannot be seen drinking while wearing our uniform, okay, as long as you're not publicly drunk or driving drunk, it's not illegal, but it could still be against your company's ethics policy that if you're wearing the uniform, you should not be seen drinking. You could get fired. But again, maybe the ACLU or whoever would jump in and say, you can't do that.
Right.
I'm not sure.
It's like all those stories you hear about the NFL players. Like they have their ethics code and code of conduct, and players are always violating that and getting penalties, fines, but they're not actually breaking any state laws or federal laws.
Right. Like if you shoot yourself in the foot, like who was that? Who was that football player that did that?
Plaxico Burress.
Right. Technically, I guess it's not against the law to shoot yourself. I don't know exactly what state he was in. It might depend on what state you're in, but the team may not like that.
Right.
There's a political ad that Fox News doesn't want you to see. As absurd as it may sound, Fox News has sued the Robin Carnahan campaign in some sort of lawsuit about compromising their objectivity. That's right. Fox News is suing someone for compromising their objectivity. The commercial is an anti-Roy Blunt commercial. And it's actually just Chris Wallace doing his sort of bias questioning type of thing, except it's of a Republican. It's a weird situation. I'll play the ad for you. It's just 30 seconds.
I'm Robin Carnahan, and I approve this message.
You just said a moment ago that you have to show that you're the party of reform, but some question whether you are the man to do that. In 2002, you tried to insert language into the Homeland Security Act to help Philip Morris Tobacco while you were dating that company's lobbyist, and your campaign committees paid $485,000 to a firm linked to lobbyist Jack Abramoff. Are you the one to clean up the house?
Roy Blunt, the very worst of Washington.
Okay, so this is fascinating because essentially the tables have been turned, right? I mean, Fox News is using one of its, and Chris Wallace have filed this lawsuit against Robin Carnahan's campaign, saying that she's using proprietary footage to make it appear that the network was endorsing her. I don't actually think that that's what the ad makes it seem like. The ad just makes it seem like Chris Wallace did his typical hit questioning on a politician. It just so happens this time it's a Republican instead of Bill Clinton, instead of a Democrat.
Right. Some tough questioning that happens to be from Fox News.
And directed at a Republican. I mean, Fox News gives the impression that they endorse Republicans all the time with this type of questioning. But one time it looks like they're out against a Republican and they file a lawsuit. I don't know. The ad's been taken down from Robin Carnahan's website. The message says, the interview with Roy Blunt that Fox News doesn't want you to see has been temporarily removed. And what Fox News seems to be upset about is Chris Wallace actually seems like a real journalist here. It doesn't matter for a second that Roy Blunt is a Republican. Chris Wallace is asking some tough questions. That's what Fox News is angry about here. This is a win-win for Carnahan, by the way. I mean, she has a very amateurish website, but the ad, even if inadvertently, is at least forcing the discussion about Roy Blunt's less than honorable past, and in part, Fox News is responsible for it. I don't know. It's something.
Right, I suppose.
Midweek Politics is made possible in part by the Daily Hampshire Gazette and GazetteNet.com, connecting our communities with local news and information. By the National Priorities Project and Smith College Department of Government, hosting Congresswoman Donna Edwards on Sunday, October 3rd. More information at nationalpriorities.org. By DIF Design, specializing in custom business websites at difdesign.com. To find out more about underwriting Midweek Politics, visit midweekpolitics.com.